let's build a fully automated strategy together. In today's video, we're going to be building a S&P 500 E-mini future strategy that is going to day trade only and trade long and short. I'm going to follow all my best practices on what I use to build fully good automated trading systems. And in today's video, you're going to be able to experience all of that and watch for yourself how I do it. If you want to learn more about automated trading or trading bots or how to run trading bots, see the links in the description below. So without further ado, let's get started and build this S&P 500 E-mini automated trading strategy. Okay, so let's get started with this S&P 500 E-mini strategy. So first up, I'm going to open up NinjaTrader, which is the software platform I use to build and run automated trading systems. You can download NinjaTrader for free. NinjaTrader.com. Pull that up. Okay, so then I'm going to open up the NinjaScript editor and create a new strategy. So I'm going to select the strategies folder here, right click, new strategy. Call this ADX strategy. We're going to be using the ADX indicator to build this strategy. All right, so it's generated the code for us, the NinjaTrader template. That's the nice thing about NinjaTrader. It generates a lot of these templates for you and allows you to kind of really focus on building strategies. So we have our code file here. I always like a stop loss and I always like to start off with a stop loss and a profit target. So I'm gonna paste that here. So we're gonna pull in two NinjaScript properties here, which allows us to edit the variables in the backtesting engine. So we have a TP and a SL. Oh, this needs a set. So TP stands for take profit, SL stands for stop loss, and I've given them names too. Stop loss currency and profit target currency. Now we have to initialize these variables. We've initialized the variables, we gotta set them, set the defaults. So defaults, let's do $1,000 each. So I set TP equal to 1,000 and SL equal to 1,000 in the state or the set default state. And this will just default the variables. Okay. Next, we want to actually set our profit targets and stop losses, actually initialize them as orders. And we want to do this in the configure state. So for profit target, it's called set profit target. Takes two parameters, a calculation mode and a value. Calculation mode is set to currency and the value will be TP because that's our variable name, our take profit. We're going to do the same thing for stop loss. Just going to copy the profit target and rename it. It's called set stop loss. And instead of TP, I'm going to put in SL. Okay. Let's neaten up our code a little bit. So let's call this targets and stops. We'll give it a region. And let's call this our properties. Just makes it a little bit neater. Okay, so we set up our profit targets and stops. And now for our on bar update logic. So first of all, anytime you use an indicator, or most of the time, you want to make sure enough bars are loaded first. So I'm going to write an if statement saying if current bar is less than 20, return. And that will stop on bar update from executing until there's been more than 20 bars loaded into either the backtest or the real time. Okay, so let's just put a comment. So now we want to do our entries. All right, we set up our profit targets and stops, so those are set. Now I want to do our entries. So the ADX indicator measures momentum. Pretty much every indicator measures momentum or some type of trend. So they're all very similar. They're just calculated a little bit differently. And I'd recommend that using as many different ones as possible for each strategy, just to get diversification. So ADX is a method in NinjaTrader, and all you have to do is pass a period into it. Okay, so the default is 14, but you can obviously try different periods. So we're going to try basically, we're going to do our long signal and then our short signal. All right, so first off, let's do our long signal. So I'm going to put a 14 period ADX. Let's just give it a number for now greater than 30, and it's at 14. So the ADX is greater than 30, and the current ADX is greater than the last ADX that I entered long. So let me explain this. So we've done a conditional if statement, and if you don't know how to code or how to write NinjaTrader script, see the links in the description below. My course, Coding Great Trading Bots, teaches you how to code all of this from scratch and build your own portfolios. So first we're checking if the 14 period ADX is greater than 30 and the current ADX is greater than, sorry, this should be 1, the last ADX, right? We're going to enter long. And let's do the opposite for the short signal. To get started. Oh, and we want to enter short. Good, yep. Okay. I'm going to make me a little bit smaller so you guys can see more. And put myself on the left here. Okay, so that's good. I'm going to save, Control S, and then compile F5 on your keyboard. And we have ADX strat. Okay, so next step, let's start backtesting this strategy. Let's do ADX strat. Okay. So we have our default settings, our instrument. We're going to do the S&P 500 E-mini futures. So ES, I'm just going to search that, go to futures, double click it. That will bring up the latest contract. Now the time frame, we're going to try multiple time frames. And I did say this is going to be a day trading strategy. So I'm going to change the trading hours to US equities RTH, which is 9:30 to 4 p.m. Eastern, which is the normal equity session. We're always going to include commissions, and we're going to include 1 tick of slippage per side. This is very important. Exit on session close is checked, so it'll sell when the trading session ends, and that's all good. Okay, so I like to start with 2 random years just to start optimizing and building ideas for the strategy. We don't want to overfit it. So I want to pick 2 random years. Let's do 2016 to 2017. Okay, so we're going to hit run. And it's probably going to be a terrible back test. That's what I thought. It's okay. Okay, so the next step is we need to start optimizing our strategy to find the best parameters for this 2-year test. We want to do sort of a light optimization on the data set that we have, which is at random 2 years. We do not want to optimize on all the data that we have because we want to save that for the end to see if it performs with new data. So that's why I'm only doing 2 years, 2016 to 2017. I could do 2008 to 2023, but then I'd be overfitting my strategy and, molding it to only do well during that time frame where we want to make sure that it does well with new data. And that's because when we run the strategy live, it's going to be new data, right? It's going to be all new data, and we want to make sure it's robust as possible. So that's why I'm just doing 2 years. We have our two parameters right now, which is profit target and stop loss. We're going to add another parameter, which is the ADX length and the ADX value. So let's pop back to our code. All right, so we're going to replace our length with our new ADX len variable. So I'm going to do Control F, left click, quick replace. I'm going to find 14 and replace it with ADX len. Going to hit replace all. There we go. And then I'm going to find the 30 value, same thing, Control F, quick replace 30 with ADX val. And hit replace all. Awesome. But because I replaced, I'll actually replace the default settings. So I scrolled up back to the set defaults and defaulted to 14 and 30. All right, let's save that. Control S, compile, F5 on your keyboard. I like saying the hotkeys just so to make you guys be able to code faster. Okay, so now we have that. Let me reset. Okay, so we have our 2 years worth of data, we have our length and value and our profit targets. So now what I'm going to do is change the backtest type to optimization. And it's going to allow me to start optimizing our values. So the length, let's do 10 to 30. I don't want to increment by one. That'd be a lot of iterations. Usually I want, the less iterations, the better. So I'm just going to go 10 to 30, increment by 10. The value, so ADX, its indicator, if you didn't know, let's pull it up here. It can range between basically 50 and negative as well. So let's do min 10, max, we'll do 50, increment by 10. Profit target, minimum 1,000, we'll do max 2,000, increment by 500. Same thing for the stop loss. 500. All right, now I'm also going to optimize the data series as well, which is going to allow us to test different time frames. So there is a optimized data series checkbox. I'm going to click that. And that allows the data series here to be updated. So let's just do 10 to 30 minute increment by 10. All right. So let's hit run. We have those 2 years worth of data. See what we get. Okay, best performing one was this. Didn't make a lot of money on the short side. Only made 1,000 on the short side, which is not the greatest. So I'm just looking at if there's any more even trades here. Doesn't look like it. Yeah, these don't look too good. What I'm looking for is it should make money on the long and short side. The problem is that we can see that the long side it's making 13K, but the short side is only making 1,600. So a vast difference. We can also see the long side is trading a lot more than the short side. Not a huge fan of that. So let's hop back to our code here. We might have to make another change. So, val. Short side is trading way less than the long side. Maybe let's try switching up. Let's do the same for the short side. And let's do 2 bars ago. So I flip the ADX val to be greater than. And then I'm changing the bars ago. So the ADX has to be greater than. No, we want greater. Let's put greater than and less than. Flip that around. I will leave this at 1, 2. In many cases is the ultimate trend indicator. I don't know if I could call it that, but all right. So made those changes. We flipped the ADX lengths. So now they're both the same. They got to be greater, which is a higher sign of a trend, but I flipped the less than equal to for the short and long. So let's try that. Let's hit run. Much less. So made the most money. 10-minute. Hmm. 13 trades. So now it's way too little trades, obviously. Even the highest one, 43, was, let's see that equity curve. 43 trades in 2 years. That's about 3 trades a month, I guess. No, it's like less than 2 trades a month. It's a little on the low side. But, okay, so 3K long, down 500 short. You can see the trades are more even. So that is better. Profits not as much. So I'm going to right click this and left click. I'll do that one more time. Sorry, I did that a little bit fast. So right clicking and then open a new strategy analyzer tab. What that does is that opens that optimization as a backtest new tab with the settings. So it picked 30 for the length, 40 for the value, 1500 profit target, 1500 stop loss on ES 10 minute. Now I like that the trades are very even. That's good. Though the long side made money. Let's change the end date until today. Let's see if it makes more money. See if we give it new data, it still does as well. And this happens a lot. Doesn't do as well. So it's overfit. Makes sense. Okay. All right. So I think we kind of neutered it too much. So let's hop back to the code here. Let's try, we can play with the bars ago. It's going to be another parameter. Let's try this. 2 bars ago. Let's give that a shot. Okay. It's very similar amounts. It's getting better. They're much more even trades. The profit isn't as much, but that went up that amount. Okay, so let's try this one. Don't worry about that bug, it happens. Okay, so 30/40. Let's change the end date to today. No, overfit. All right, so we may have to change the ADX val to. Might need another ADX val for the long and short. So we're gonna make an ADX val for short. ADX val short is equal to, say, 40. So made a new property ADX val short. And let's change that to that. Okay. Let's give that a go. All right, sort by number of trades. This was the best one. 40, 40. Still not a huge fan. Yeah, this only made 2 short trades. I want to be a little bit more even. This one may be better. Let's try it. All right, change the end date to today. Nope. All right, let's dig into the ADX val a little bit more. Instead of wider ranges, 10 to 50, it's usually around 40 to 30. So I'm going to try 30 to 40 increment by 2. And same for the short. Try that out. Just want to see a little bit of profit on the short side. Okay, we're getting more trades now. 29.19. Okay. Try out with new data. Not as bad, but yeah, still definitely not as good. I'm gonna have to restart my strategy analyzer. It's bugging up. So let me just close it. Are we good? Yeah. Reopen it. Let's pull up last optimization here. Okay. So 40 and 40 was the best. ADX fell on the long side and on the short side. The long side, we wanted to enter more. Let's try 30 to 34. On the short side, let's try 34 to 40. Okay. So now the long trades, we're getting more trades. It's more on the long side though. It's not as even. All these are 10-minute. Optimize on to average profit. See how that changes the results. Much more even, $94. Let's try this 30-minute one out. Actually made money on the short side, which I like. A lot of the gains were at the end. Okay. Change the end date. Doesn't make more on more than 2.7. Oh wow. Okay. Short side was not as good, but see, it's made more money. You see that, right, guys? Now it's mostly the long side. The short side isn't as much. 36. So now I'm on. I think I'm onto something. So I'm gonna change this backtest to walk forward. because now we're going to walk forward with more data. I'm going to change the start date to 2008. Oops. So ADX for short wasn't trading as much. And I picked, let's see what parameters they were. 30, 32, 36, 1500, 1500. So for the walk forward, I can attempt to use the same parameters, but it may be too wide. So I'm gonna lock the length for the ADX to 30. That's what the optimization for the 2 years was. The best that it chose was 32 and 36. Let's try logging all these in. I'm going to change my optimization period to 365 to try every year. Okay. I'll keep my profit target and stop loss as the optimization or as the walk forward settings. Okay. So, it actually looks really good. We run the walk forward, and most of the strategies, or sorry, most of the iterations are profitable. So that's awesome. That's great. Now I did lock the ADX values for the walk forward because if I walk forward optimize them, it may be too much noise. But I did leave the profit target and stop loss to up to interpretation. Okay, interesting. So here's our strategy, guys. It looks like we got it. If you want to learn more about how to run this strategy live or how to run it in sim, see links in the description below. I teach you how to run a walk forward settings for a sim or a live account. But the next step is I would run this in a sim account for at least 30 days to see if it makes money in the current market and also to check for bugs and whatnot. But there you guys have it. There's an S&P 500 E-mini futures strategy that we built that is so far looks good in the back test. Of course, that means just the beginning. What's more important is how it does well in real-time environments. And that's why I said you probably want to run this in a sim or paper account for at least 30 days to see if it makes money and it's not overfit. Anyways, I hope you guys found value in this coding a strategy with me video. That was a mouthful to say. Let me know in the comments below if you learned something about creating strategies or backtesting or running walk forward optimization. And hit the like button too. That would help me a lot. And I would thank you very much for hitting the like button. That's all I got. Have a good weekend, guys. Merry Christmas and happy holidays. Peace.